NBC Sports and the United States Golf Association present a USGA National Championship. Today, it's the final round of the U.S. Women's Open.
And how the Merit Club is sparkling on this championship Sunday just outside Chicago. Just 10 years ago, it was a working farm where the club's founder and owner, Bert Goetz, raised Black Angus. This week, it's been the site for the greatest championship in women's golf. And about an hour and a half ago, Tiger Woods dazzled the golf world once again. Now some 4,500 miles away, Karrie Webb looks for more history of her own in the 55th U.S. Women's Open. And here in this 55th edition, Karrie Webb trying to win her third major championship, began the day with a 4-shot lead over Meg Mallon, and we join Karrie Webb at the par 4 6th. The lead again just 3 over Meg Mallon and Mi Hyun Kim, who has joined the chase of players under par. This is her second shot.
She's left herself 128 yards to the hole, wind in her face and from the right. This is an 8-iron. This ball left of the hole at the center of the green.
Second toughest hole this week, the 6th. And over at the 7th, Mi Hyun Kim birdied the opening 3 holes. And this for birdie at the 7th for her 4th in the first 7.
Pretty straight putt, quick down the hill. Gets it outside the hole. It was a right center putt.
Still, what a start for the 23-year-old Korean who is last year's Rookie of the Year in the LPGA circuit. She will tap in and remain at 3 under. 3 under on her round today. When she began this day, she was 7 shots behind Karrie Webb, but as mentioned, birdied the opening 3 holes. This was the first one at the par 4, 399-yard hole. And then at the second, a par 3 measuring 176 yards. Hit it to this point, rolled that in. And then at the par 5 third, coaxed that one in for a birdie start. And then at the 4th had that one. That was just about a 4-footer for birdie. That would have been 4 straight, just off the mark. But Mi Hyun Kim has been on the mark, just 3 behind Karrie Webb, and has now joined Meg Mallon in a tie for second at 3 under par. So those are the only 3 players under par in this championship. Rosie Jones still looking for her first major championship. She has more wins than any other player without a major championship. She has 10 victories. Laura Davies at +1 as we return out to the 6th, the 3rd shot for Meg Mallon. Roger?
And a hole that Meg Mallon has struggled with the last few days. Has missed the fairway, made bogeys the last 2 days. This a missed club short of the green. She'll leave herself a good 4 feet to save par.
Mallon has parred the 5 opening holes as we welcome you to this U.S. Women's Open. Dan Hicks along with Johnny Miller, and a chance for more history on this major championship weekend. When Tiger Woods won the British Open, he's now won 3 of the last 4 major championships among the men, and if Karrie Webb is able to win this Open, she will have won 3 out of the last 4 among the ladies. But it's not quite a done deal as much as it is with Tiger, at least when you take leads into the final round. As you can see, Karrie Webb 19 times has taken that lead into the final round, but just 11 times has closed the deal. So she can be beaten, especially in a championship like this, Johnny.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. She wants this championship so badly. This is no doubt about it, the biggest championship in women's golf, and to have this one on your little mantle list, this is the one that could make you a little bit more nervous than normal, because she is right in her prime, just like Tiger's in her prime. If you can imagine in his prime, if you imagine her scoring average is 69.64 for the year, that is incredible golf. I mean, that's stuff that you just go, you got to be kidding me. That's unheard of, really, for women's golf.
So what's she going to have to do today to win this championship?
Well, I mean, she needed a good start, but she has not really gotten that start that she wanted. But Kari is, you know, got so much firepower. A lot like Tiger again. You know, Tiger makes a little hiccup, but you know there's 6 more birdies somewhere. Same thing with Kari. Kari leads in birdies made. She's just so strong with her game that if she's just patient, keeps getting the ball in the fairways of greens, which is her goal, she's going to be really hard to beat. It's going to take a miraculous round by Mallon or Kim.
Here she is for birdie at the 6th. It has been a much different start today for Kari Webb. Again, +1 in a round. Yesterday, after 5 holes, she was 3 under. In fact, she birdied 5 of the first 10 holes.
Well, she was a pursuer yesterday, and then all of a sudden got the lead. And today, she's sleeping on that lead all night. That's a whole different ball game.
There's that start with that bogey at the 4th. And our announcing crew here today at the Merit Club. On the tower, Gary Koch. And walking the fairways, joining Roger Maltby, Jane Crafter, 20-year veteran of the LPGA Tour, and Kay Cockrell, 2-time U.S. Women's Amateur Champion, handling the interviews. With us here at the 18th, Jimmy Roberts, and of course we'll be checking in with David Fay from time to time, the Executive Director of the United States Golf Association. Back to the 6th. This for the 6th straight par for Meg Mallon, who's only 3 back.
And there's a putt that should move a little bit to Meg's right. Still struggling a bit with the putter, just hasn't made anything away from the hole. Has been pretty good around the cup, however.
So solid start for Mallon, who said after yesterday's play she is waiting to finally make some long putts. Hasn't really made a putt that Roger mentioned yesterday of any consequence, and she's waiting for the long ones to finally roll in. At the par 3 11th, this is the tee shot of Kelly Keeney, +1 in a round today, +3 for the championship.
It's 181 yards. You can see that hole location, a tough one. What a shot this is. Kelly.
Tap in birdie for Keeney, and that'll get back to even par in a hurry for the championship. On an absolute gorgeous day, 25 miles northwest of downtown Chicago. Again, Kari Webb +1 start, so it's Meg Mallon trailing by just 3, and Mi Hyun Kim also trailing by 3 shots. Grace Park at +2, perhaps in line for Rookie of the Year honors on the LPGA Tour. Se-Ri Pak.
And Julie Inkster's off to a really tough start, 5 over for the front 9, so that's a little bit of a surprise there.
Se-Ri Pak shot a 69 today, and that's been the best round of the championship thus far today. And the sister of Annika Sorenstam, Charlotta Sorenstam, in at +10. And there is Nari Wanglukiet, 14-year-old amateur, the youngest in this field, one of just 3 amateurs to make the cut.
It's great stuff. She's looking at maybe a 74 or 75 today with a good finish.
Well, let's go out to the 17th and pick up Nari, Gary.
Well, this 380-yard par 4. The second shot does play slightly downhill. All playing much more difficult, though, than it did the early part of the week. Now back into the wind. And the players who do not drive far enough will not have a clear second shot to the green, as you see the trees on the corner of the hole on your right-hand side of your screen. Very powerful swing for this youngster.
She have to hit a cut shot here, Gary?
I think she must if she's going to go at the flag, John. The hole is cut on the front right portion of the green today, and you can just kind of see our camera tower through the trees there, and the flag is about on line with that. She gets it started to the left, moving it back to the right, and overdoes it. Ball will come up short and right. And tee at the par 3 7th, 165 yards today, Meg Mallon. It has been a very popular spot. We've seen a number of balls to the back edge of this green, hole playing downwind and slightly downhill. Club of choice seems to be a 6-iron for most players. And next, Kari Webb. Roger?
Well, so far, Kari has certainly, I think, implemented her game plan. She's hit the ball in the fairway on the greens. Had a hiccup at the par 4 4th, but looks very much in control of her game to this point. Such a good iron player, Gary. Very solid with especially the middle irons and long irons, I think.
Well, we take a look at what has happened at the 7th hole today. 45 players on the putting surface. 12 have missed short and right. And we've had just 1 in the bunkers, none in the water. And I think 2 things causing that. First of all, the hole playing downwind, and secondly, the back center hole location.
Well, the wind has switched a little, as you say, now kind of downwind. When Meg Mallon played, it was more right to left, but it appears to have switched and gotten in behind the players a little bit.
All right.
That's a 5-iron Kari Webb is selected. Seems like it might be a lot of club, Gary.
I would think so. You certainly don't need to carry the ball all the way to the hole, Roger. That's why we've seen so many balls to the back portion of the green.
This ball turning left to the hole.
Uh-oh.
Barely carried in the water.
Well, that is quite an error there. This short 7th has played as the most difficult of the 4 par 3s on the course through the 3 rounds.
Let's take a look at the swing. I think Roger probably hit it on the head. She's just trying to feather it in there. Just a real smooth one. Good swing, just short of parallel. And comes down. The swing looks pretty good, but I think she just sort of eased into it a bit and didn't hit it solidly. Just normally, like the guy said, she just flushes it every time, but not that one. So that's a huge mistake.
We'll move ahead to 8.
And pick up the 4th shot of Mi-Hyun Kim at this par 5. And let's bring in Jane Crafter with this group.
Well, Mi-Hyun Kim has hit her 4th shot just past the edge of the bunker here. She had 75 yards to the hole and came up way short. She's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the bunker. Very awkward shot. Not a very good lie.
Trouble with this way of playing it, which you could stand real close to it, is when you stand this far away from it with your right foot down like that, you're catching an awful lot of grass before you get to the ball, and usually you'll end up coming up short.
And Johnny, there's an awful lot of grass around this ball.
Oh, now she's
She can't make up her mind.
This makes your swing. If she's that's the way she should stand right there, because you can get on the ball quicker. Oop, no, I'm not so sure. That'll go higher though. I'll say that much for it.
Yeah, it's come out pretty hot, Johnny.
Yeah, got a jumper out of the bluegrass.
Yeah. That's an unforced error.
And back to the 7th.
Kari Webb has dropped in the drop area.
And now Gary has a shot of 126 yards.
Are you guys shocked by that shot she hit? I mean, you'd think with a 3-shot lead.
I am very, Johnny, the water really shouldn't be in play today with this back center hole location, the wind coming from the right. I mean, you would think you would want to start it anywhere to the right of the hole. The green slopes from right to left.
A shot just left of the flagstick.
Well, it's nicely done, but it'll still leave about 12 feet down the hill for a bogey at number 7. Can she keep her lead? Well, we'll find out.
The U.S. Women's Open is brought to you by Lincoln, American Luxury, by Titleist, the #1 ball in golf, by Unisys. When it comes to e-business solutions, we eat, sleep, and drink this stuff. And by Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. We measure success one investor at a time.
Here's the par 3 7th. Meg Mallon with a quick downhill birdie putt. It was beautifully judged for pace. We'll move ahead to 8.
Mi-Hyun Kim for par.
Quick putt down the hill, leaving the flagstick in. Won't turn that much, I don't think.
So it's going to be the first mistake, first drop shot for Kim. She drops back to 2 under, and for the moment, she is 4 shots behind Kari Webb, but Kari Webb's going to drop at least 1 here.
Well, I think right now, Dan, she'd be more than happy to just drop one shot. This is not an easy putt.
This one's got some movement to the right, doesn't it?
Yes. Roger, if there's been a tendency from what we've seen from the players putting from this portion of the green so far today, it is to underread the break, miss the ball to the right.
She could have learned something from the speed of Meg's putt to see how much this thing will turn, how much slope there is there.
Plenty high enough, in fact, too high. So now that short putt left for a double bogey 5. All right, double bogey 5. Kari Webb at the 7th. Now back to 4 under par, and the lead just 1 over Meg Mallon. Well, I really believe that Kari Webb faces 2 challenges today. The first and obvious one is against her fellow competitors in the field, but the second is less obvious, a challenge from within. See, Webb tends to naturally play the game aggressively, and that style of play has helped her to establish several records on the LPGA Tour, including the all-time low 72-hole score of 26 under par and the all-time low scoring average for a year. But in assessing why she has yet to win this Women's Open Championship, Webb came to the conclusion that that aggressive style of play, she often tended to lose her patience a little too easily. So she's established that as her number 1 goal this week, to stay patient. Well, through 3 rounds, she's been able to do it quite well. But now, after that double bogey at the 7th, it'll be interesting to see if she can continue to patiently pursue the Women's Open title she wants so badly to win.
And Gary, when you want to win this championship so bad, sometimes, Johnny, it's those things right out in front of you that you want so badly, you just seem like you get farther and farther away the harder you go for it.
No, when you have a lead, you can't afford to be putting the ball in problems like water, out of bounds. You just got to play safe. Whenever there's a double bogey even looking you in the face, you just say, no way, I'm not even going to go that direction. And that was a huge mistake. So the next couple holes are going to be really key to see if she keeps going in the wrong direction. 3 over par for the day.
Well, some finishers earlier in this championship. Nancy Lopez, the Hall of Famer and the 4-time runner-up in this championship. Nancy finished with a 75 today, getting one of 2 special exemptions to play in this championship. And then Jan Stevenson, who won this title back in 1983, the only other Aussie to win it, finished up with a 78. And then Betsy King, courageous play yesterday with a very sore back. Shot 82 yesterday, persevered, and then played the final round today. One of the classiest competitors ever in this sport. Tee at the par 5/8, 522-yard hole. Meg Mallon.
Right down the left center of the fairway. Good shape.
And you can see how fast these fairways are playing. The first bounce was probably 30 feet at least, and good tee shot there. She can snuggle it down by the green if she elects to, but it's a very small opening. Look at that little tiny opening to that green.
Now Webb, after +3 golf through the first 7 holes, tries to gather herself.
Looks like a 3-wood.
Well, John, the wind is against and from the left. I don't believe this green can be reached in 2 today.
No, and she elected to do that, hit the 3-wood on the long 9th yesterday, because she did not want to go in that tough primary cut rough, which is probably the thickest rough I've ever seen in a Women's Open Championship. Going left.
Tee shot going left. Yep, headed for the left rough, it looks.
Well, that one's sitting up.
Another miscue for Kari Webb. Looks like she is going to be tested today for this title. There are the miscues by Kari Webb, the bogey at the 4th, the double bogey at the 7th. Earlier, Meg Mallon talked about Kari Webb and gave us some insight on her resiliency.
The thing that's most amazing to me about her is that when she does make a mistake, she'll reel off 3 birdies in a row because she's still so mad from that one mistake she makes. She never gets down about a mistake that she'll make, and as a matter of fact, she'll turn it into a positive, and that's what she's been so good at the last couple of years. So that's why she's so difficult to beat.
Well, she's coming off a double bogey here and another errant drive in the rough at the par 5/8, so we'll get a chance to see some of this resiliency from the awesome Aussie.
This is the driest. Well, you can see the scoring average, which she's displaying. 4th round, 73.0, which is tremendous stuff, but not as good as, of course, not great compared to the other rounds, but not that bad, actually. It's not terrible.
It's been good Saturdays in the Opens for Kari, but again, as you saw there, has had a difficult time on Sunday.
Well, just Sunday sometimes is the hardest pin placements, and 73 is not a bad round, but it's not great. It would be probably good enough this week if she were to shoot it.
They give out the trophy on Sunday, too.
This is the driest rough, isn't it, Roger, almost on the golf course?
Yes, John, it is a little sparse over here. It has a pretty good lie. It does have an oak tree some 60 yards ahead that you'll have to skirt past.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ball came out left straight into the middle of the oak tree.
Got through it a little bit.
It got through it just a little bit, about 20 yards ahead of it. She advanced that ball maybe 80 yards.
This is a nightmarish front 9 for Kari Webb. Over to the 9th.
Second shot for Kim up the hill at the long par 4. They're yelling for it to go. Hole playing back into the wind. Oh, and that's a well-played shot. That is a makeable putt from there up the hill. They go back to 8.
And Meg Mallon, with Webb having problems, has a chance here to cut into the lead.
Well, with hitting the tree, Roger, it's almost level right now, isn't it?
Almost, yes. Over 300 yards to the hole, just trying to advance the ball down the left center, left side. If she could, would give her the best angle into this hole. She has done just that. Good shot.
I tell you, there were a lot of people when this championship began that thought it was almost a foregone conclusion for Kari Webb. Over to the 9th.
Veteran Rosie Jones, second up the hill as well.
You good, baby?
They like it. They like it. Oh, I guess. Oh, easily the best second shot we've seen at the 9th today. So Rosie Jones will have a makeable putt to get to 1 under. And we'll go back to 8.
And with some of the rest of the field playing well and Kari Webb coming back, it's going to bring a whole lot of other players into the hunt in this championship.
Kind of lie, Roger. Is this good or bad?
Well, it's not a real good lie, John. I don't believe she can reach the green from here. It has 207 yards to the hole. If she does, though, she's going to have to hit it at the very left side of the green and run it into that opening. She can't play anything near the hole from here.
That opening is so tiny. If she tries to hit it hard out of that rough, it's probably going to be another quick hook. Don't you think?
Well, it could be, yes. The grain of the grass is growing against her.
Yeah.
This is the time where you really have to slow down and take stock, isn't it, John? And things start going very quickly now.
She's been tempting to, this is a tempting shot to say, well, gee, I just double bogey and I just hit the tree. I got to get this on the green somehow. And you hit another quick hook, and if you don't watch out, you make another double.
Oh, this is going to test that patience we talked about and that Gary was talking about earlier, isn't it?
A lot of this is the caddy, too. I mean, the caddy says, look, there's still 1 shot ahead here. Let's just get it back in play, get it up and in, and make a 5 the hard way.
75.
Well, while we wait for that, over to 9.
91.
Birdie putt for Kim on the way, and no, that was never on line. Ball was always going to move to the right, not left. But it should be a good, safe par on this difficult par 4. Back to 8.
And Webb and her caddy Evan Minster continue to talk about this 3rd shot.
Well, I would think the length of time they've taken to deliberate this, she is not going to attempt to try to knock it on the green. It's just a matter of how far she wants to advance it to leave herself a wedge she can spin in for her 4th shot.
See how dark the grass is where a ball is. That shows us into the green.
Okay, so it'll be from that point with that hole location just over that bunker where Kari Webb will try to get it up and down to save a par. Back to the 9th.
Rosie Jones has a very makeable putt for a birdie. Kim did manage to tap in for her par to remain at 2 under.
And Gary, what a superb shot Rosie Jones played in here with a 5-wood. She's got to be one of the most accurate players with fairway woods I've ever seen.
Quick putt here, Jane.
Yes, it'll be pretty quick, Gary. Doesn't look like it's going to do much. There's a little hill to the left. There's one to the right as well. I think she may be having to play this pretty straight, but hard to tell from my angle. One of the best putters on tour, 4th last year in putting stats.
10 wins on the LPGA Tour, but never a major. This would be a huge lift. 9 is playing as the 3rd most difficult hole on the course today. Just 5 birdies. Oh, I played it to move a little right, and it stayed very straight. Back to 8.
101 to the green.
And Meg Mallon is next, her 3rd. Roger.
111 yards to the hole, wind against,
There's 6
and
right,
some from the left.
Plenty. There's 9 in back. That's pretty good.
Her caddy telling her how near she is to the side edge on the right-hand side and how many there is behind the hole. And Johnny, for safety's sake, you want to take this ball in behind the hole and not flirt with that bunker short.
And this is a good opportunity for her to put some serious pressure on Webb if she can knock it close.
A little right of the hole. In the right fringe, but she'll have an uphill attempt from there.
That's actually a good angle. It barely breaks from there, and it's slow.
While we wait for Webb, we go to the par 5 18th. Ariwan Glukiet for birdie.
Very slow putt, not much break. Out to the right, it'll stay out to the right. Just
But a sensational part of a twin combination. Her sister Ari finishing top 10 at a major championship earlier this year. Now the 4th for Webb at the 8th.
That's from 83 yards.
nice solid strike.
That's right at it, John. If it's the right distance, a little deep.
There we go.
Brings it back.
There you go. Good shot.
Well, that should settle some of the nerves for Kari Webb. +3 start, chance to save her par at the 8th. Remain at 4 under. Meg Mallon just 1 back. Mi Hyun Kim just 2 back in the Women's Open.
Their stories are all different, but their passion, their dreams, are all the same. That's why State Farm is a proud sponsor of women's sports, because little girls have big dreams too.
CD, $15. Baseball tickets,
Two, please.
$60. Abstract painting, $3,000. Express checkout on the web, priceless. The MasterCard e-wallet. Online checkout is now 1 click away. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Get one at MasterCard.com.
Yeah, sir, this is James Horner. Yeah, James Horner. Actually, I'm doing pretty lousy, sir. I have a sore throat and a headache, and I've been puking my guts out all night long. So I figure I'm not gonna come into work today. Yeah, I'm gonna lay low and try and kick this thing.
Horner force him to the tee. Horner force him to the tee.
Hello?
Everything you need to play, except the time. ChipShot.com.
4.
Meg Mallon for birdie and a share of the lead. Still looking for that putt of consequence that she's been looking for all week. Maybe it's ahead. Now at the 18th, Nari Wanglukiet for her par. Makes the cut again. Just 3 of 18 amateurs made the cut. And again, her sister Ari finishing in top 10 and playing in the final group earlier this year at a women's major.
At the par 5 12th, that is the third shot of Christy Kerr on the way, 145 yards. Trying to get a big hop and bring it in from the right. Not bad, but it leaves a quick downhill putt for a birdie. Back to the 8th.
And Kari Webb looking for her par. Try and stem the damage. A bogey at the 4th, double bogey at the 7th.
Yeah, this is about a 6-foot effort, and the putt that looks like it should move a little left, but I believe a putt she'll have to keep inside the hole. If she gets it off the hole, I don't believe it'll come back.
That is a heck of a par save. To 14.
This is the birdie putt of Grace Park up the hill. Oh, that was to get to even par for the championship. 3 under par in her final round, and a couple more birdies between here and the house, and who knows what might happen. Park in her rookie year on the LPGA Tour has already won an event, and great things are expected of her. Well, Kari Webb with that great par-saving putt at the 7th maintains her 1-shot lead over Meg Mallon, but the race is getting tighter.
To get to the green, watch CNBC earnings season coverage. Profit from it.
Here at the 9th tee, the 412-yard uphill par 4, longest par 4 on the golf course, Kari Webb.
And Meg Mallon has already split the center of the fairway here, so a big shot to get in the fairway for Kari Webb.
Ideally, you would like to take the ball at the bunkers you see up the right-hand side, turn the ball slightly back to the left, and that is her natural shot.
Terrific, going right down the left center of the fairway. And long.
So a better swing there. Back at the par 5 12th. This is a birdie putt for Christy Kerr. And this is a quick one down the hill. It'll move to her right. Yeah, the 22-year-old from Miami moves to 1 under par. Back to 11.
Laura Davies on the tee, 181-yard hole today.
Tough hole location today, back center all the way back.
She's been hitting those low, hot right to left, then checking them up like a pool player.
That's a cool shot, just underneath the holes. Perfect.
She's got a chance to move to even par. Laura Davies, like a lot of these other players, Johnny, in the hunt with Webb coming back a bit. Second shot for Mi-Hyun Kim at the par 4 10th.
Way back right hole location, and she did not catch it all. Sort of turned the club over and got a lot of overspin, as you can see there, but she's putting with a big slice putt.
2 under on a round today, and back over to the tee at the 11th, playing with Laura Davies as the reigning U.S. Women's Amateur Champion Dorothy Dellison, who fired a 68 on Friday to make her presence known in this championship. Turned pro after her amateur championship last year. A lot of people wondered how it would all turn out, but this has been a dream of this 19-year-old to play on the LPGA Tour for a long, long time.
Won the US Am, Women's Am, and the Women's Junior.
Doesn't like that shot.
Well, it hit softly though, so it's okay. Not bad at all.
Youngest player on tour, Dorothy Dellison out of Daly City. Has dual citizenship. Her parents were born in the Philippines. Her father, Sonny, has been caddying for her, taught her the game at a very young age, and there he is. Well, the countdown to Sydney continues here on NBC tonight. The U.S. Olympic track and field trials continue. There you see Michael Johnson and Maurice Green as they look to face off in the 200 meters. But again, Michael Johnson not 100%. A right quadricep injury suffered yesterday in the first heat of that. So tune in tonight at 7 Eastern time. See if Michael does indeed end up going head-to-head with Maurice Green. Keep his double gold hopes alive in the 200 and the 400 like he did in Atlanta.
As we look down on the 9th hole, Meg Mallon getting ready for her second shot.
That's from 186 yards uphill and against the wind. Meg going to have to hit a fairway wood in here. Steeply uphill. This shot's going to play every bit at 200 yards.
Leave it alone for a second.
The right side of the green needs a hop left.
Got it. Safely into the center of the putting surface. That is a well-played shot. Leaves an uphill putt. Quickly to 10.
And Mi-Hyun Kim
Well, she
from
has,
the back.
Dan, she's got about 55 feet here. As Johnny said, a big slice putt.
Has she been rolling her ball today or what? That'll be an easy par for Kim, who stands maybe 5 feet tall. She and Allison Nicholas clearly the shortest players on tour, but Mi-Hyun Kim taking a giant leap up the leaderboard today. And back to the 9th.
Kari Webb ready for her second shot, and Roger, just example of how difficult this hole is played. Players hitting the green in regulation just 32% of the time. A difficult uphill shot.
Kari has 167 yards to the hole. This is a 4-iron. Going to have to hit it solid to get it all the way there. And she's done just that. She's hit it solid at the right center of the green.
Okay, inside of Mallon. So a very fine second shot for Kari Webb. Remember, Meg Mallon said she usually comes back after she messes up.
Back to the action at the 9th.
That is the birdie putt of Meg Mallon on the way. Has it got enough speed? Yes, it does. Meg Mallon to 4 under par. Just the 6th birdie of the day here at the long uphill par 4 9th.
Finally, Gary?
You know, when you think back on it, Johnny, we've watched her for 4 days now. That's probably the longest putt we've seen her make.
Yeah, Roger's documented that.
Back to 11.
Laura Davies to get to even par. This is a part of the game where she has not been happy.
What's amazing is that as soon as she hit her tee shot on these par 3, she pulled out the putter and started practice putting. That's how much she's worrying about it.
At 13, second shot for Christy Kerr, who has joined the golfers at 1 under.
Get up. Get up.
Coming off a terrific birdie putt on the last hole, and that's not bad right there.
She will have a chance to join Mi Hyun Kim at 2 under.
And back at the 9th. Roger, we'll see if Kari Webb can answer.
Well, putts of a little different line here, so I don't know how much Kari could have picked up off of Megs. It will move left. I don't think quite as quickly in the beginning of the putt as Megs did.
No, that's low. That's low all the way.
You don't see her hit many tentative putts.
Slow through the front 9. The final round of the 55th United States Women's Open Championship. 2 leaders, Webb and Mallon. We go to 11.
Rosie Jones on the tee at even par.
And Dan, this is with a 9-wood from 181 yards.
Almost hold it out on number 9 with a fairway wood. It's 181 yards, as you say.
Rosie's still looking for that first spark today. Has parred the 10 first holes.
Sort of her game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, grinder. Not a particularly flashy player, but she's in the hunt. And Christy Kerr for birdie K at 13.
Another great opportunity from 20 feet. A little double breaker is to get to -2. Oh, rolling it very well today and hitting it excellently as well.
And back to the 11th, Mi Hyun Kim on the tee, Jane.
And Kimmy also has a 9-wood. Just played some beautiful golf today, just a couple of hiccups.
Kim safely aboard the 11th. Well, what's ahead for the contenders on the Merit Club's back 9? Here's Johnny Miller with a quick preview.
The 12th hole is a great par 5, uphill, a long one, 533 yards. You can see you need to negotiate these 2 bunkers. They're right in play, right in that shaded area. If you can hit it there, then you can go ahead and knock it up here just right of these 2 bunkers up by the green. If you put it somewhere between those 2 markers, you definitely have a green light special to try to make birdie. Hole location today is on the front right, which really brings that right bunker into play. You want to keep it underneath the hole. Meg Mallon on Saturday, her 3rd shot. You can see she chips up close right there, goes on to make that putt, and makes birdie. So this hole can be had. And the 13th hole is a par 4, a short one, 354 hole, but water left and right. The players take that water out of play by hitting less than a driver off the tee in that shaded area there. Then you go along right here, a very narrow opening there. Water is in play on the left if you don't watch out. And the hole location today is back left, so that water is in play. Dottie Pepper in the first round, she drives it left in that long grass there and tries to muscle it out, but doesn't make it and stays in the primary cut. She does hack it out from there and make bogey, but there's a lot of trouble between the long grass and the water. You got to really be careful. And then the 14th hole, probably the best hole on the golf course at 406 yards because that lake is really in play on the right. There's some options here. You do want to hit it at the bunker with a little fade if you can, and then you got a long approach into this shot. It's a little uphill. Hole location today is on the front right, so you can hit short of the green and run it up on there and maybe make a hard way birdie. Dottie Pepper in Thursday's first round, she hits her first drive in the water, so this is her 3rd shot and again does not make it. So disaster lurks here if you don't hit a good tee shot. You got to keep it to the left if you're going left. But Meg Mallon in the 3rd round, she decides not to go that route. She goes down the 13th fairway. And you can see she hits it a little bit left, which is big trouble because if you go down the left side, there's a landmark oak that's right in her way. She tries to go over that, leaves it short of the green. and costs her. You can see the route from there. If you go to the right, you got to keep it right to get over those trees. So great hole there. Then the 17th hole, par 4, 380 yards. For a 380-yard hole, this is one of the best I've ever seen. If you hit it right, look at how dead you are. Those trees get you every time. You need to hit it in the shaded area or miss it a little bit to the left because the hole quickly doglegs to the right. It goes downhill. You can feed it out of the rough if you hit it in the rough and run it onto the green, but it's a perched green. You see Kari Webb in the third round, her second shot. She's trying to cut it around the corner, but it's that edge we were talking about. It rolls down into that heavy cut there, and that costs her, makes her have a bogey on that hole. So this 17th hole, it's short but super tough. The 18th hole is par 5, 485 yards. It's a short one, but a gambling one. You need to hit the ball left of that bunker. It's in the middle of your screen, over that water, 210-yard carry if you want to get on the green in 2. You got to be gutsy there. It's easy to bail right and go into the right bunker. If you go in the bunker, you got to lay it up in between. This area right here is 20 yards wide. That leaves you just a nice wedge into the back left hole location today. But if you can hit a good drive, you can feed it right onto the green. Watch Kari Webb in yesterday's third round. She makes a good hard strike, but the wind's going left to right. She's not quite gambling enough, keeping the line left. And watch what happens in this hard fairway. It runs into that bunker. That's not a terrible spot to hit. It's a lot better in the water. She lays it up and then knocks it on the green. But this hole really tests what you got inside, especially to conclude a great championship, the U.S. Women's Open. If you can make birdie or eagle here, who knows what might happen. It's a great golf course, fun back nine.
And it's been a most formidable open course. As you can see, the recent scoring averages at the Merit Club, 76.33. Old Waverly, of course, pretty easy last year. Black Wolf Run right along in line of that, which was a very difficult golf course.
Here at the 12th, this is an eagle putt for Pat Hurst. So the 533-yard par 5 playing downwind today. We have seen some players reach the putting surface in 2. Hurst will have that short putt for birdie to get to 1 over. To go back to 11.
And Mi Hyun Kim for birdie. Began her day with 3 straight birdies. Hasn't had a birdie since, and that will come up short as well. But she should remain at 2 under. At 15, birdie attempt for Grace Park. Park was +5 and 12 shots back just 8 holes ago. She's 5 under since and now finds herself tied for 5th, just 4 back on an ever-changing leaderboard. At the par 5 18th, Annika Sorenstam, 2-time Open champion. Drops that in, a 70 for Annika. She says, I like that. It's her first round under par on the Women's Open since her final round 66 when she won at Pine Needles 4 years ago. And back to the 11th, birdie attempt for Rosie Jones from the back.
She wasn't sure what she wanted that to do. She wanted it to go and break.
Well, her last command was ho down. Well, Mallon in trouble off the tee at the 10th, Roger.
Has missed the fairway right, has 171 yards to the hole, and they've had to move television cables and Gowrie ropes and everything in order for her to play this shot. And certainly if they're still on the clock, this has taken some time.
Well, you see why this leaderboard is bunched up in a hurry. Kari Webb had a 4-shot leader with Meg Mallon. The next closest pursuer was 7 back.
Does have a tree to contend with her, so 20 yards in front of her. And she caught a piece of that tree, but the ball has gone through. It's chasing up the fairway. She'll take that.
To 14.
Second shot for Christy Kerr.
And she came out of her drive a little bit and was darn lucky to find the land. Ball's in the intermediate cut of rough, decent lie. Wind blowing very hard in her face. She's going with a 4-iron from 172 yards.
Easy to come out of it with the ball below her feet. It's front right hole location. Oh, she got a great bounce. Oh, That is fine. We go to 10.
Kari Webb second. Roger.
9-iron from 135 yards. Uphill but downwind. That's just a little left of the hole.
Another fine shot by Webb, who seems to be showing no bad signs after the tough front nine, which she played in 39. And I believe she birdied this hole yesterday, and that was a part of birding 5 of the first 10 holes. Gary?
Well, this a moment ago at 12, Pat Hurst for the birdie. And just plays a little too much break. So an opportunity lost there. We go to 16.
Grace Park, who has made this surge up the leaderboard, looking over this long birdie attempt, began the day at +3, now at even par. Birdies at the 8th and 9th, 10th, 12th, and then you saw the one at the 15th. 5 birdies in the last 8 holes.
Heading right up the draw. Does move a little left, though, I think. Yep, it's moving left. Looks good.
Wow, bold charge by Park. And she's got a lot left to remain at even par. Now let's go to Jimmy Roberts.
Well, Dan, you mentioned it before. 18 amateurs started this tournament. 3 made the cut, and the one who comes up at the top of the list after it's all said and done, Nari Wanglukiet. Congratulations. It was a wonderful week for you.
Yeah, it was a wonderful week for me. That's true. You know, I played solid all week. My putting was a little disappointing today. I 3-putted like 4 times, but it was a good experience overall.
What were your expectations coming in here? What did you think you were going to do?
My expectations? Well, my first goal was to make the cut, and from there I wanted to be the low amateur, so I did that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
A lot of discussion about you and your twin sister. I've been meaning to ask you. We missed it the last time around. Who's better, you or her?
I think we're about the same. Depends who plays better that week.
All right, well, congratulations. A wonderful week for you. And Dan, as if she hasn't accomplished enough, she skipped a grade between last year and this year. Let's go out to the 10th hole.
Let's go out there. Meg Mallon getting ready. Roger?
Well, electing to use a putter, this from about 80 feet. Hole cut on 26 paces. Slow putt. That's going to come up well short.
I think she hit that heavy or something?
Well,
right?
I couldn't tell. I'm on the other side of the green, John, but that's a good 20 feet short.
She had to scuff that. There's no way you could misjudge it that badly.
Mallon does not have a bogey on her card today. Well, there's a look at the amateur leaderboard. Nari Wanglukiet at +12. Jin Rowe at +14. And Hillary Holmeyer at +18. Congratulations to those amateurs playing in this Open Championship. Jin Rowe, 21-year-old graduate from Stanford, and Hillary Holmeyer, 20-year-old Stanford senior and a Curtis Cup hero as well. Mallon has a long par putt here.
Yeah, she does, and a putt that doesn't break a lot. Maybe influenced a little bit to the left by a slope coming off the bunker on the side of the green, but in the area the hole should straighten up and maybe even try to go back to the right zone.
So the first drop shot by Meg Mallon today. Still not in for bogey. And ahead to 16. Grace Park with a lot left here for her par.
That hurt.
That is unfortunate. After building all that momentum, it comes crashing down with a bogey at the 16th. Well, Kari Webb began the day with a 4-shot lead. Earlier, we asked her about playing with the lead.
I just play hole for hole, and you know, if that means I'm giving myself better chances and I am putting the hammer down, then you know that's ultimately what I want to do. I want to shut the door as quickly as I can, but you know, sometimes that doesn't work out like that, and you just got to play smart and you know, take your chances when you can.
Well, her front nine surely didn't close any doors with a 39, I'll tell you that, but she does have a chance to have a 2-shot swing right here, Roger.
She does, and this putt, one she can be aggressive with uphill, will move a little bit to her right. Only about 10, 11 feet.
her resiliency now, Roger. A birdie at the 10th to move back to 5 under, and we move back to 14.
That's the birdie putt of Christy Kerr on the way. A bold effort up the hill, and she leaves herself some work.
Seems to happen a lot in tournament golf, especially championship golf. The pursuers start to get too aggressive, and then they make more bogeys, and you end up with these big spreads if you play well, if you're leading.
As for bogey for Mallon. So a two-shot swing at the 10th. Mallon was tied with Webb heading in at 4 under. Now she finds herself 2 back again in the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1, continuing to navigate the skies high above the Merit Club. And it is a beautiful spot here just outside Chicago, and a beautiful day for Snoopy 1 to cruise the Illinois skies. The course designed by club president Ed Oldfield, Chicago area golf architect Bob Lohman. They had a beautiful piece of land to deal with, more than 300 acres here. Back to 14.
Our putt for Christy Kerr. Okay, well done. She remains at 2 under par in her final round. And 84 is a good 4 at 14. We'll go back to 11.
Good look from behind the par 3 11th. 181 is the yardage. And the lead for Webb is jacked up to 2 again over Meg Mallon.
You can see that whole location. It's tough to get to, but in some ways, if you get the right distance, you got sideboards in this area here, and then you've got more sideboards here. So the ball, even if it's over here, goes this way, it can go that way. Who knows? Maybe in the hole. But if they're attempting to catch up to the group that's ahead of them, doesn't look like they're in a big rush.
Well, they were notified that they were being watched, David Fay, as early as the 9th tee, correct?
Correct, Dan. After they played their tee shots on 9, they were informed that they were more than a hole behind the group ahead, and they were taking more than the allotted time to play, and that they would be timed. And the expectation is they'll close the gap.
Look at Kari's line today.
This ball started well right.
That sideboard kick there, Raj. Everything sort of funnels in. Not too bad a leave, really. She must have hit it flush to carry all of that bunker, Roger.
And Meg Mallon is next. Has won this championship. It was 9 years ago when she won 2 majors in a span of 3 weeks. Has had her close calls in chasing down this title again, and in fact chasing down any major, but since that 91 season has not won another major.
Again, 181.
That's a 4-iron.
You can hit it short of the hole and let it roll right up by the flagstick. Uh-oh.
This ball not hit solidly. She may
Got
really get away with one here.
Really got away with it. How good is this?
I was trying to call it. That was quite a first bounce, Roger.
Mallon's been looking for some breaks. She just got a huge one at the 11th. Well, most everyone says, Johnny, that you need breaks to win major championships. This was the tee shot for Meg. Bounces off that fairway.
Oh, I tell you, this thing was heading for the promised land. I mean, she's hit technically the drive at 10, second shot at 10, the first putt at 10, the second putt at 10, and the shot here off the tee. 5 straight poor shots. She's going to play those 2 holes even par. That doesn't happen too often.
There's that start by Mallon, par the first 8, and then birdie the 9th, and then the unfortunate bogey at the 10th, but then the gift here at 11. We'll see if she can fully capitalize on it. Ahead to 12.
Third shot for Rosie Jones, 78 yards. Slightly downwind. Will it check? Yes, it will. So Rosie Jones will have a nice opportunity to get to 1 under par. And now Mi-Yoon Kim.
And Gary, she only has 40 yards to this hole location, dead downwind. Tricky shot.
Have to land the ball short and let it release. Oh, beautifully judged. She must have been watching some of that British Open coverage earlier today. Go back to 11.
Long birdie attempt on the way for Webb. Solid putt. That'll be another par for Webb. Remains at 5 under, so she has steadied the ship since the bogey at the 4th and the double at the 7th. Kari with already 4 wins this year, including her first 3 starts of the year. In fact, she won 4 of the first 5 tournaments she played in this year. It was just an amazing start. A little bit on the back burner with the incredible play Tiger Woods has put on display as of late. But incredible play by Webb.
This is a super important putt right here, because when you get that good of a break, you don't want to just not take advantage of it.
Well, that's the kind of shot that's almost embarrassing, John. To miss this putt, I think would be really deflating.
She'll putt this right through her shadow.
Yeah, it's a pretty straight putt, isn't it, Raj?
Yeah, shouldn't do much if she hits it firmly.
Talk about an unexpected birdie. The second that ball flew off the club face, Mallon was talking to it. Just a few moments later, she has a birdie, and she has felt the heartbreak and ecstasy of this championship. She skyrocketed into Golf's elite. Back in '91, she followed her victory at the LPGA Championship by capturing the United States Women's Open title that happened at Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas. Her final round, 4 under par, 67, vaulted her past the leaders to claim the title. Then, just 4 years later after that, Mallon took center stage at the scenic Broadmoor Golf Club in Colorado Springs, where she blistered the course with a 66 in the 3rd round for a then record total through 54 holes. But her 2-shot lead evaporated on the last day as she triple bogeyed the par 3 4th, never able to recover. She shot 74, finished 1 behind Annika Sorenstam, who of course came from 5 shots back to win her first Open. Mallon has not won a major title since. And since the '91 season when she won those 2 majors, she's had 12 top 10s in the 4 majors, but no victories. She's waited a long time since that ecstasy and heartbreak back in the 90s. And right now she trails Kari Webb by just 1. Let's go to the 12th.
Mi-Yoon Kim with her putt for a birdie before her. Rosie Jones attempted her birdie, failed to convert, has now made 12 straight pars. And Jane, this is not an easy putt.
No, Gary, it is not. It's going to slide a little bit from left to right, and obviously how much she plays is going to depend on how hard she wants to hit it. She sure played a very creative little shot to get to this point, though. Too much speed, I think, there.
Yeah, a good effort.
U.S. Women's Open, and Kari Webb wants so desperately to add it to her already illustrious resume as we continue the action at the 12th. Gary?
And we look down on the right-hand rough at this par 5, and we find Meg Mallon. Roger, how bad is it?
Well, it's sitting down pretty good, Gary, and this is, of course, the 2nd time in a row she's driven it right. Back at 10, she drove it right as well. I think she'll probably try to take out something along the lines of a 6-iron. And advance the ball up the fairway. I think the thing she's really got to worry about on the angle she must play is getting through the fairway on the left-hand side. She'll have to keep this ball down the right-hand rough line, I think, with this club to keep it in play. Well, that hit softly. That should be okay.
Ahead to 15.
Christy Kerr for birdie. This to get to 2 under within 3.
Nice slow putting stroke. Quick putt from there. It's looking pretty good.
Oh, uses all of the hole and rolls it in. So 2 birdies on the back 9 for Kerr, and she does creep to within 3 of Webb. Before Dorothy Dellison, at age 19, the only youngest player on the LPGA Tour, it was Christy Kerr, who was the last teenager on tour. Already her 5th season now.
And back at the 12th. Tiger Webb getting ready for her second shot.
Well, I'm a little surprised. Gary ball just in the intermediate cut of rough, has 244 to the hole, 238 to the front edge. It is downwind, ball sitting down just a little bit, but is electing to lay it up, it appears.
Well, I think you would have to call that a very conservative play. So Webb safely in the fairway at 12. She holds a 1-shot lead. McMillan's third at the par 5 12th.
This from 139 yards. Downwind, needs to bounce. Boy, did it bounce. Getting pretty firm up here, fellas.
Wow.
Well, the wind drying the green out there at 12. Up to 16.
Christy Kerr, who has joined the chase at this par 3, 183.
Very dangerous hole location. Looks like she sort of leaned ahead of it and hoped to turn it back, but probably a little right. And that is very difficult spot. I mean, that is quick.
3 under on her round today, over at the 13th. Second shot for Mi Yoon Kim. Jane?
Mi Yoon Kim has 100 yards exactly to the hole, dead downwind. A ridge, she really only needs to land this ball at about 90 yards and let it release up to the hole. Smooth pitching wedge.
What a shot.
Beautifully played shot.
Just 23 years old, missed the cut in her only other Open a couple of years ago. Currently tied for 3rd, back to the 12th.
Webb's 3rd.
That's from 78 yards, and as a consequence of her conservative play, she is now effectively short-sided the green, trying to bounce it up, but a difficult shot. I think just about as good as she could have played it.
A good 15 plus feet past the hole. We go to 16.
Second shot out of the rough for Christy Kerr, okay?
Well, Johnny, you're right. This is a very tough position. I think on the tee she was in between a 4 and a 5, went with the 4, and it was obviously too much club. Grass is laying with the shot, though, but the whole green slopes away. Well, she could still make that one. I mean, that's only about 13, 14 feet.
Christy Kerr turned pro after high school, turned down a scholarship to play at Stanford. So just like Dorothy Dellison, they have foregone the school route right to the pros.
And she's sort of the new generation's version of Dottie Pepper. I'll tell you, she'll talk to that thing and order it around.
Yeah, she doesn't hold back. She definitely plays with no fear.
26th on the money list. That's already a career high for 22-year-old Christy. Has not won. Best career finish tie for 2nd earlier this year in Dayton. Well, next Saturday in prime time, America's Olympic hopefuls go for the national title at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Tune in as the nation's best, including Vanessa Adler, 2-time defending champion Kristen Maloney. They try for the ultimate crown in U.S. gymnastics. Key competition next Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time and Pacific on NBC. Now at 16, defending champion Julie Inkster for birdie.
Putting up and over the mound, right to left movement. Look at this. Come on, Jules.
Tough day for Jules, okay?
Extremely tough.
+8 on her round. And back to 12.
Lengthy birdie putt for Meg Mallon.
This over 60 feet with a lot of break to the right, Gary. And she has not hit this one either.
That's been the tendency all day long from back there, Roger. Players think it's more downhill than it actually is.
That's 2 first putts on 10 in here that didn't get inside, what, 15 feet?
That's about right. We go to the second shot for Laura Davies at the par 4 14th. front right hole location is not going to work real well with that low draw, Johnny. You're going to have to start it to the right.
Boy, she got so far ahead of that, just leaned into it, that little dip move, and just trapped a low squirter.
And back at 12, Kari Webb with a chance to move to 6 under par. Roger, I'm sure she was hoping that Mallon's ball was going to run on down there a little farther to give her an idea what the end of her putt might do.
I'm sure she would like to see what was going to happen in the area of the cup, yes.
I think she was pretty happy with the outcome, personally.
Well, I guess that could be.
Another chance for a 2-shot swing like 10, huh?
Certainly is, although we have not seen many people make the putt from behind the hole, John. They have a tendency to read a little too much break into it, miss the putt on the left.
Do you think that's been the issue all week, is too much break they're playing?
I would tend to agree with you. Seen a lot more putts missed high than low. It will not move that much. Ahead to 16.
Christy Kerr trying to save this par.
Moves right all the way.
Trying to keep her momentum.
Is that over-reading the putts, just hole after hole.
She drops back to 1 under, and at 13, Mi Hyun Kim to get to 3 under par within 2. Her nickname, Peanut, when she first arrived on tour. And after wrapping up Rookie of the Year honors last year, made her presence known and making her presence known on an open leaderboard. Back to 12.
Meg Mallon with a lengthy putt for par.
They're really very similar to the one Kari Webb just had.
What is it, just inside left?
Yeah, move just a touch to the right.
Well, that's too far off the hole.
Oh, man.
Well, that is another disappointing bogey for Meg Mallon. That's 2 in the last 3 holes. Drops her back to 3 under par, and now 2 behind Kari Webb. And Roger, I guess certainly no gimme here.
Well, no, certainly not at this stage, but inside the whole putt, there's not much to it. If she were to miss a putt of this length, it wouldn't be because she misread it. Let's put it that way.
Okay, and with her par 5 at 12, the lead remains at 2. And they'll move to the short 13th. We'll go to the tee at 14, and what's going on?
Well, Mi Hyun Kim and her caddy are discussing a line to take it on here. The wind is right into the player's face, and they're not considering the alternate route on the 13th fairway. They're just discussing exactly which line to take with this wind.
There's a good look down at the 2 holes, the 14th, the one on your left. And we see we've had 2 drives in the water, 5 in the rough, 44 found the fairway, 5 in the left rough or bunker. And no players have gone down the 13th fairway today, and I think a lot of that has to do with the front right hole location.
And certainly, Gary, for her size, hits the ball pretty far, pound for pound. Beautifully struck drive here. Perfect position.
That carries easily and will be right in the center of the fairway.
Well, you can see the teeing area is right here. The perfect drive would be right at this bunker here with a little fade. That would be the excellent shot. Meg Mallon yesterday decided to go over here. Instead of hitting it here, she hit it way down over here, and then this landmark oak right there, 2 of them, really came into play. And Gary mentioned that the hole location is way on the right side, right front edge. So if you go right, you got a very, very difficult shot.
And now Rosie Jones, I'm assuming, will take a little route of farther left.
Yes,
than Kim.
I would assume that too, Gary. Not as long off the tee as Mi Yoon Kim. Has struck it very well, and pretty much the same line, actually.
Okay, and safely in the fairway. So 2 balls, fine dry land at 14. The tee shot will await Corey Webb and Meg Mallon in not too long. Webb going along very nicely. Still maintains her 2-shot lead. We'll be right back with more final round coverage of the 55th U.S. Women's Open Championship.
NBC Mondays, discover the difference between a mystery and a miracle. The premiere of Mysterious Ways, this Monday, 8, 7 Central on NBC.
I'm sure she was hoping that Mallon's ball was going to run on down there a little farther to give her an idea what the end of her putt might do.
I'm sure she would like to see what was going to happen in the area of the cup, yes.
I think she was pretty happy with the outcome, personally.
Well, I guess that could be.
Another chance for a 2-shot swing like 10, huh?
Certainly is, although we have not seen many people make the putt from behind the hole, John. They have a tendency to read a little too much break into it, miss the putt on the left.
Do you think that's been the issue all week, is too much break they're playing?
I would tend to agree with you. Seen a lot more putts missed high than low. It will not move that much. Ahead to 16.
Christy Kerr trying to save this par.
Moves right all the way.
Try to keep her momentum.
Is that overreading the putts, just hole after hole.
She drops back to 1 under, and at 13, Mi Yoon Kim to get to 3 under par within 2. Her nickname, Peanut, when she first arrived on tour. And after wrapping up Rookie of the Year honors last year, made her presence known and making her presence known on an open leaderboard. Back to 12.
Meg Mallon with a lengthy putt for par.
Really very similar to the one Corey Webb just had.
What is it, just inside left?
Yeah, moved just a touch to the right.
That's too far off the hole.
Oh, man.
Well, that is another disappointing bogey for Meg Mallon. That's 2 in the last 3 holes. Drops her back to 3 under par, and now 2 behind Corey Webb. And Roger, I guess certainly no gimme here.
Well, no, certainly not at this stage, but inside the whole putt, there's not much to it. If she were to miss a putt of this length, it wouldn't be because she misread it. Let's put it that way.
Okay, and with her par 5 at 12, the lead remains at 2. And they'll move to the short 13th. We'll go to the tee at 14, and what's going on?
Well, Mi Yoon Kim and her caddy are discussing the line to take it on here. The wind is right into the player's face, and they're not considering the alternate route on the 13th fairway. They're just discussing exactly which line to take with this wind.
There's a good look down at the 2 holes, the 14th, the one on your left. And we see we've had 2 drives in the water, 5 in the rough, 44 found the fairway, 5 in the left rough or bunker. And no players have gone down the 13th fairway today, and I think a lot of that has to do with the front right hole location.
And certainly, Gary, for her size, hits the ball pretty far, pound for pound. Beautifully struck drive here. Perfect position.
That carries easily and will be right in the center of the fairway.
Well, you can see the teeing area is right here. The perfect drive would be right at this bunker here with a little fade. That would be the excellent shot. Meg Mallon yesterday decided to go over here. Instead of hitting it here, she hit it way down over here, and then this landmark oak right there, 2 of them, really came into play. And Gary mentioned that the hole location is way on the right side, right front edge. So if you go right, you got a very, very difficult shot.
Now Rosie Jones, I'm assuming, will take a little route of farther left.
Yes, I would assume that too, Gary. Not as long off the tee as Mi-Yoon Kim. Has struck it very well, and pretty much the same line, actually.
Okay, and safely in the fairway. So 2 balls, fine dry land at 14. The tee shot will await Karrie Webb and Meg Mallon in not too long. Webb going along very nicely. Still maintains her 2-shot lead. We'll be right back with more final round coverage of the 55th U.S. Women's Open Championship.
The U.S. Women's Open is brought to you by Lincoln, American Luxury, by MasterCard. There's some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. By TaylorMade, the fanatical makers of Energel, the ball with a real material difference. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Back at this Open Championship, Karrie Webb beginning the day with a 4-shot lead over Meg Mallon. Now 2 better than Mallon, and Mi-Yoon Kim. Now at the par 5 18th, Grace Park for eagle, and an example of how there could be some big swings at this 18th, a variety of scores from eagles to a lot worse, but that came up a lot shorter than Grace would have liked. Beautiful smile, and the 99 Women's Open, she finished tied for 8th with a total of 283, which broke Jenny Shasiraporn's amateur record by 7 shots. She's just a 21-year-old rookie who turned pro after her sophomore year out of Arizona State, and we've talked about it a lot, but loads of potential.
Yeah, she's going to be a star. You might as well just embed that face in your mind, because you're going to see a bunch of it in the next 10 or 15 years.
Got her first win earlier in June. To 13, Karrie Webb getting ready for her second. Roger?
Well, continuing her conservative play, used an iron from this tee. That's left her 147 yards from the hole. Hole cut just behind a knob set on the left side of this green. Wind at her back.
Fly. Get up.
Nice play.
Within birdie range again. 1 under golf in the back 9 after +3 golf on the front 9. 17.
Second shot down the hill for Cristie Kerr.
That just a 9-iron, trying to hit it at the very front part of the green.
Get up.
It's a pretty good spot right there.
Back at 14, Mi-Yoon Kim.
Mi-Yoon Kim with the 9-wood, heading to the right edge of the green. Got a pretty favorable bounce there, Gary.
Beautiful bounce, and that leaves a very makeable putt, almost straight up the hill. She is just 2 back of Karrie Webb. And we'll go back to 13.
And Meg Mallon's turn.
That's from 122 yards. This ball, I don't think, hit particularly solidly again in the center of the green. Bit of a clanker again, John.
Yeah, hit a bunch of those.
Mallon within 2, tied for second with Mi-Yoon Kim. Mallon for birdie at 13.
Starting to leave him short for some reason.
Again, a short par 4 and one of the few birdie opportunities here at the Merit Club at 11. Rosie Jones for birdie, just short of the putting surface.
Lengthy putt up the hill. Moving a little right. Yeah, Rosie Jones, after 13 straight pars, finally gets one in. Leaves her to 1 under. Ahead to 18.
Grace Park for birdie. This was the attempt a moment ago. Nicely done. And Grace Park looks like she's on her way to another top 10 finish. Currently in 6th place after her final round 70.
Julie Inkster, birdie putt at 17. It's going to move to her right. Yeah, all right. Julie finally a birdie, first of the day. Moves her to 8 over par for the championship. Disappointing final round, +7. We go back to 13.
And Kari Webb sizing up perhaps her second birdie on this back 9, Roger.
Well, this is just a little better than 12 feet, and this is one of those good-looking putts. This is very makeable downhill. We'll move a little bit right to left.
Well, upper left, Mi Hyun Kim at the 14th for birdie. Kari Webb's birdie attempt on the way, first off the mark.
Kim's birdie putt just runs out of speed and moves a fraction to the left. Wow. That was a golden opportunity. And at 17, another golden opportunity. Christy Kerr, birdie putt. Oh, hit it. So she will remain at 1 under. We go back to 13.
Par attempt for Mallon. Is to remain at 3 under.
Oh,
unbelievable!
Yeah, there's some serious nerves going on right now. You can see it manifest itself in several different ways for Meg, and pretty typical of any U.S. Open, men's or women's. At this stage of the game, start seeing a lot of putts short. Just it gets tough to get the ball in the hole. It's very nerve-wracking.
At this stage in the championship, too, on the back 9. Looks like it's going to be the 3rd bogey in the last 4 holes for Meg. Unfortunate, especially on the shortest par 4 on the golf course. And Mallon drops to 2 under now, 3 back. Well, 20 wins for Webb. She already has 2 major championships. And even Kari Webb will admit that she is still somewhat amazed by all of her success.
Oh, I'm still surprised. I continue to surprise myself every day and every week. You know, just that I continue doing it, and like this week I came in with you know, not where I wanted my game to be for the U.S. Open, and you know, you know, I think it's just because of the confidence and the belief in myself that, you know, I overcame that.
Well, came in not feeling good about her game and coming off a tie for 17th at the Japan Airlines event last week. That's her worst performance of the year.
And you watch her, though, her game, she has plenty of distance, but her approach shots, her iron shots, are so much more solid than most of the players, and they come in at a higher angle, and they stop quick, a lot like Tiger Woods. They're not running up onto the green and dependent on a lot of bounces. She's able to just spin it in there, and really, tee to green, her game is by far the best on this tour.
Well, on the tee at the par 4 15th, Mi Hyun Kim.
Going with the driver here.
Look at her wrap that club around the back.
It's a John Daly imitation. Well,
pulls through. And she is in the rough. Now to that pivotal tee shot at 14, Gary.
Well, really the last place for disaster, I guess you would say. Kari Webb will be up first.
She's got to be aiming left.
Started right, Roger. Is it all right?
It's turning back to the left, though. This is going to be real good, I think.
Yeah. A bold tee shot to play a draw. Started out over the water and turn it back. Well, the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 is providing today's aerial coverage of the U.S. Women's Open Championship and the surrounding Gurnee area. Blimp travels over 60,000 miles a year to cover sporting events and television specials throughout the United States. And Roger, how about Meg Mallon? Alternate route or straight ahead?
Playing the traditional way today.
A bunch of shots right, guys. This is not the time for another one.
Well, this is not going right. This should be a good tee shot.
And it is. Safely in the center of the fairway where Kari Webb has negotiated the tough tee shot at the 14th. She is safely on dry land. Right now she currently holds a 2-shot lead over Mi-Yoon Kim. In the 4th and final round of the 55th U.S. Women's Open Championship, we'll return to the Merit Club in just a few moments.
6 weeks before one of the biggest games of my life, I felt a strange pain in my chest. What my doctor found was my toughest opponent yet. 3 of my arteries were more than 90% blocked. After recovering from surgery, lowering my high cholesterol became more important than football. Later, I was fortunate enough to coach my team in the biggest game of the season. That's the kind of play we need. Along with a healthy diet and regular exercise, taking Zocor every day helped significantly lower my total cholesterol.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not right for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems, because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor and about any medicines you are taking.
When diet and exercise are not enough, talk to your doctor about Zocor. Take care of yourself. It's your future. Be there.
Because the average golf course is 6,500 yards and the average golfer plays more like 8,500 yards, straighter is better. Tightlize 2 from Adams Golf, designed to help you hit consistently straighter shots.
Golf clubs make a lot of promises. Tightlize 2 makes it guaranteed. Straighter shots are your money back. Only with Tightlize 2 fairway woods and the new Tightlize 2 driver, straighter is better.
Welcome back to this major championship weekend in golf as NBC and the United States Golf Association continue its presentation of the 55th U.S. Women's Open Championship. Things much tighter here at the Merit Club than they were at the British Open earlier in the day. And like Tiger Woods, Kari Webb wants to add to her historic start in her sport. And there is young 23-year-old Mi-Yoon Kim.
Driver ran through the fairway here. She's got a pretty thick lie in the right-hand rough. And 167 yards into the wind to this back hole location. Going with her trusty 9-wood, which is a pretty good little club out of this rough. Johnny will probably just land short and just trundle up the green, hopefully.
As long as she doesn't get that quick little snap hook, but she's having a great round. Best round, really, of all the leaders. 3 under par for the day. Super stuff. See if she can play this one. Did it come out straight?
Yes, it did.
That could be good then.
Looking very good if it kind of, yeah,
Gotta
it
stop.
sits.
Gotta stop. Hit the pin. That is in the primary stuff, but not too bad. That's a pretty interesting swing. Not much club head speed, but watch this. She chokes down about, what, 4 inches there on the club. Takes the club, beautiful extension, pass parallel, comes down and sticks it right there. And see how she holds onto that club face angle and keeps the face square? That's good stuff. Just a little short follow through. A little bit like Tiger Woods' stinger shot.
This is just her 6th major championship. Her best so far was a tie for 6 at last year's Du Maurier. As we return to 14.
Meg Mallon ready for her second shot.
172 yards to the hole. Hole cut in the front right. Ball slightly below her feet. Back into the wind. It's a 5-iron. Pretty good looking shot if it'll get up.
Needs a hop.
Wind hit it.
Won't get it. Up to 18.
And a big drive for Christy Kerr. 1 under par.
Well,
5-18.
If she's got, she needs to hit on this line right here. And if she can do that, that's got a chance for eagle.
She has plenty of hit in her game to do it.
How's it look?
Going left with a little draw.
No.
Doesn't quite clear those weeds, I don't think, Johnny.
She turned it over, didn't hang it in the air long enough, so that's going to be a short iron explosion out of that rough, but I think she can get it down there where she can possibly still make a birdie.
We've talked about the fairway at the 18th. Difficult to hit, 28%, but again, it's played the easiest here at the Merit Club.
Second shot for Kari Webb at 14.
Intermediate cut. This is 7-iron from 147. Go. Left of the hole, the center of the green. Wanted the ball to jump, it did not.
Well, it's not a bad leave, though, Roger. Underneath the hole, good position. Up to 15.
Second shot, Rosie Jones. Jane?
Our third shot for Rosie Jones, just in the very edge of the primary rough. Actually got a little bit of room behind the ball. She should be able to get quite a bit of club on this ball, Johnny.
So hard to get the right distance with all those humps and bumps. You can see these little tops of these brown area where there's a hump, and so she got to negotiate it perfectly. I'd say anything inside of 6 feet is great.
Get up.
Hit into that first hump, huh? And that's really not a good shot with that good lie she had.
So Rosie in danger of dropping her first shot of this final round. Over to 18, Kelly Keeney has a lengthy eagle attempt.
Yeah, watch the big break coming off that hill. There's a big side slope there coming down. That look at that.
Pretty nice leave.
Beautiful smile, huh?
Yeah, one of the best in golf today, that's for sure. Now Mi-Hyun Kim, her third shot at the 15th from the rough.
And Dan, I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I know Mi-Hyun Kim could not see it from about 6 feet away, so it's got to be down in there pretty deep.
It's not as bad as you think. It's almost like you can look straight down on it, but it's sort of in a hollow, but the grass is low behind the ball, so it's not like she has to go through a lot of grass to get to it.
Well, the green is sloping away from her, Johnny. She's got about 15, 18 feet of green to work with, so if she can just get this out, land at about a yard.
You can see that little low spot behind the ball, about 6 inches. She's got action here.
Good play, though, for Kim.
Good leave, too, Jane.
Yes, very good.
And back to 14.
Kari Webb preparing to play her third from just short of the putting surface.
Well, this is a 30-footer, hole cut on 10 paces, Gary, and this will move a little bit to her right. I would imagine now we're thinking lag, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I would think that she has to feel like if she could make pars from here to the house, that she's going to force the other players to really do something spectacular.
Hit awfully firmly. Wow. Wow. I mean, that's gone by a good 7 feet.
Well, that is certainly not what she had in mind. Very surprising.
Gary, don't you think, the enormity of getting in the Hall of Fame with this win and the first U.S. Open win for her, that's a load right there.
It's a lot to have on your mind, isn't it? Or to try to keep out of your mind. That's for sure. Allen now also going to putt from just short of the green, Roger?
She is. This putt now has less break. Might try to go a little bit to the right, but there's very little break in this putt. Pretty good opportunity here. Maybe unlikely, but boy, if you could hold this.
We've seen a couple of two-shot swings the other way.
What's this been doing, Gary?
Well, I think Roger called it. Should maybe leak just a little bit to her right as it gets up near the hole. Not much.
Hard to get it there? Nope.
She hit it right all the way. That was never on line.
That's got a little left to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Both those putts will be coming back down the hill.
Tell you what, Webb got Kim on her heels right now. Just 2 back.
Keep quiet over here, please.
Putting the last few holes, especially 12 and 13, where she's had 2 3-putts. Very difficult to overcome that to win a major championship. We'll go up to 15.
See if Mi-Hyun Kim can remain 2 back of Webb. Rosie Jones made bogey here and did drop her first shot of the day to drop back to even.
Couldn't have an easier putt, just straight up the draw.
And the young 23-year-old from Seoul, Korea, in just her 2nd year on the LPGA Tour, remains a factor. Just 2 back to 14.
Webb with this putt for a par. And Roger, what would you call it?
Oh, about 7 feet. It should move a little bit to the left.
Putt has been overread. But not that time. That was a picture-perfect stroke. A good par 4 for Webb at 14. Lead remains at 2 and a little smile. To 18.
And second shot a moment ago. You saw Cristie Kerr's tee shot, short.
Oh, that was a good shot right there. Most people will hit a quick duck hook out of those tweeds, as I call them, with the long stems. And she just hung on big time.
You've had a number of terms for open roughage in recent years.
Yep.
A moment ago.
I've been in there a few times.
Kelly Keeney for birdie. That's a nice 2-putt. Keeney 3rd last year, final round 71 today, currently tied for 6th this year. Plays the Opens well. Back to 14.
Another critical par putt for Meg Mallon. That's from about 3 feet. That's pulled. Wow. The short stroke looks as though it's gotten shorter, it's gotten quicker. Putter's coming up faster as she goes through the ball.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Playing for a huge purse this week also. All those things are on their minds.
So that'll be 3 bogeys in a row for Mallon. She drops to 1 under. We go to 18.
3rd shot for Cristie Kerr.
Just a little 3/4 wedge from 98.
Kick left. Left.
Kerr continuing to talk to it. You mentioned that purse, Johnny. It is the largest ever in the history of this sport, and it's certainly worth mentioning because it is $500,000 to the winner. More than it's about $180,000 more than Julie Inkster won last year when she won at Old Waverly. So they've added $1 million to the ladies, and it's a richer first place prize, richer purse than the U.S. Senior Open as you look at Julie Inkster heading up 18.
As we said earlier, Julie plus 7 with the birdie on 17, plus 7 for the round, plus 8 for the championship. But boy, she's had a great run of major championships, hasn't she?
Well, the last 5 major championships have been won by either Julie Inkster or Kari Webb. And speaking of Kari, she's at the tee at the 15th, par 4, 376 yards. And Johnny, you mentioned the added pressure perhaps even more with the Hall of Fame watch in the balance. Now, Kari Webb has 25 points. She needs 27 for qualification. A major championship win is worth 2 points, so if she wins today, she will have enough points, even though she won't be eligible for induction until the 2006 season, which means that she's played 10 years. So Hall of Fame status on the line today as well.
Boy, that's a quickie, I'll tell you that, getting there that quick. And this tee shot has got to be made easier for that putt she made in the last hole. That was so clutch after, I don't know what happened on the first one, but that was a huge, huge putt. And a good drive there with her 3-wood.
Meantime, deep disappointment for Meg Mallon, 37 years old, knows that these opportunities to win these types of major championships just don't come along very often.
Well, she made the great birdie putt at 9 and then bogeys 3 putts 10, but then hits that little clanker that rolls up there stiff, makes birdie there to get to 4 under for the championship. 1 behind Webb, and from then she's now dropped 3 shots.
Tied for the lead, entering the back 9, now 4 back.
That looks pretty good. Real good. Yeah, ideal.
Kari Webb, the lead is 2 over Mi-Hyun Kim. Tough day for Meg Mallon. Back to the Open in a moment. For par at 18, that is so Julie. I'm bringing home a trophy, and it's a real big one too, girls.
Yeah, it is.
So a year removed from that 16 under par. Incredible performance at Old Waverly. Tough way to end at 80 for Julie. Meg Mallon shot on the way at 15.
From 164 yards, this is right at the hole if it's up. It's up. Beautiful shot. Hit the flagstick here yesterday.
And back to 18. Moment ago, birdie attempt for Christy Kerr.
That's a tough read there. Both Julie's putt and Christie's. Those things are tough to read on that side of the green, and that might be the difference between winning or not winning a little bit later.
To the tee at 16. There's been a bit of a backup here. Mi-Hyun Kim at 3 under in second place.
It's going a little left. Oh. Man, is that costly. That is just brutally costly.
And the chances
look
of
at
an
this.
Open Championship just flashing by in her mind.
And Webb has no idea that she now, in essence, almost has a 4-shot lead.
This now from 158 yards. A 7-er. Wind from the right, maybe slightly against as well.
Oh, it's a good-looking golf swing, Roger.
Pretty solid. This one just a little left of the hole.
I mean, it's just brutally solid. I mean, that's just, it's almost like when you watch Tiger and he swings and you go, wow. And you see that swing, same thing. Just so good through impact. Holds on to the club face angles so well. No weaknesses.
And back over to the 16th, the ball drop area now for Mi-Hyun Kim.
And Dan, she has 135 yards to this hole now from the ball drop. Hit a 9-wood off the tee, and the wind just really came up and just ballooned it straight up in the air. Her playing competitor Rosie Jones hit a 7-wood, and I have to believe that that would have been the right club for Mi-Hyun as well. Now she's got, I would think, probably a 7-iron, maybe an 8-iron here. It's a little bit downhill, but the wind is starting to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, she's a tough little player. Carded 9 victories on the Korean LPGA Tour. One time while playing with a ruptured appendix.
Aiming right. Did she pull it again?
No, it's going right at the hole.
Yes, I mean, almost played a pull on purpose, I think. Good shot.
Yeah, well played there, Johnny.
Back in that tournament, Mi-Hyun thought she had a stomach ache. It ended up she was in the operating room, and the doctor approached her there. She's a huge celebrity in Korea, and asked her for an autograph, which she gave to him. She's a tough, tough competitor, and we haven't seen the last of her. Now Kari Webb to play at the 15th. And you see the comparison between Tiger Woods and Kari Webb. Very similar. Tour wins just about even. 4 major championships with Tiger adding to his list. And it's something that Kari Webb is used to, being compared to the best player in the world, Tiger Woods.
Well, I think obviously our careers have paralleled so much, and we've achieved so much at such a young age. I think that you know, we are going to be compared. And but I think what Tiger's doing right now is, I don't think you compare anyone to him right now. I think, you know, he's a step above everyone.
I think that's a good assessment there, really, because Tiger is in sort of in a league of his own, but Kari doesn't have to pull her hat down and the shades up too tight on her own. Just an amazing package, and should be just getting better, just what they say again about Tiger.
And she's just about a year older than Tiger Woods as you take a look at what they've done today. That tough start out in 39 for Kari, but got it together after the double bogey at the 7th. Since then, all pars and a birdie.
Roger?
Well, this putt from just over 15 feet. Slightly downhill, and will move from her right to left, I'd say 6 inches or so.
Cozy time. Just start to cozy him up there, Raj.
No need to hit him too hard now, is there?
No. Par has become extremely friendly at this stage.
Back over to 16, Rosie Jones for a birdie.
From about 45 feet, straight uphill. Should roll a little bit from right to left here.
It does break, and see if she can get it there. Solid. There's more break left there than the players are picking up on.
Well, it looks like it'll be another major championship wait for Rosie Jones. Well, the U.S. Olympic Track and Field Trials presented by Pontiac tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and we just received word that Michael Johnson has indeed arrived at the track, and still going to be a little while, probably about an hour from now, until he decides to go ahead and take on Maurice Green in the semifinal showdown of that 200 meters, as Michael's already made the team of the 400, trying to make the team of the 200, so we'll keep you updated on that. And watch the Track and Field Trials tonight on NBC. Mallon for birdie at the 15th.
Just an absolute must make, and did not hit it firmly enough.
Can you believe how many putts have been short, Raj?
And once she got to the backside, she just couldn't get the ball to the hole, it seems.
Now, when you're 4 down at this stage, Raj, you just can't leave it short.
Over to 18, Shani Waugh in contention early in this championship. After that opening round 69, this is her 3rd shot to the par 5 18th. 30-year-old from Western Australia. +6 for the championship, +5 on her round today. And back over to 16, Mi-Hyun Kim for bogey.
And Dan, 25 feet uphill, also will break quite a bit right to left.
Should have learned from Rosie's putt. Looks good. Oh,
A heck of a try there, Johnny.
Just carried just a titch too much speed, otherwise it would have gone down. It's the best putt I've seen from there.
Kari Webb made her par at 15. She remains at 5 under, and Mi-Hyun Kim's going to drop at least a couple of here. For a moment, she thought it might be in.
Boy, I'll tell you, you think there won't be some thoughts about this hole in her nighttime dreams for a while.
So now for double. Most unfortunate 16th for Mi-Hyun Kim. And now the Kari Webb lead will be 4 with just 3 holes to play. And over to that par 3 16th, Johnny, today 183 yards.
And you can see a beautiful hole. You can just see how naturally it's cut in there, all that native grass, and just that ecologically this golf course really suits, I gotta believe, anybody that loves environmental concerns that have to enjoy this course with all this open vegetation and a lot of critters and butterflies and flowers and all kinds of good stuff out there.
And Snoopy 1 giving us the bird's eye view from high above the longest golf course in U.S. Women's Open history. MetLife Blimp.
He's had some nice weather to hover with.
Beautiful all week. Unseasonably mild temperatures.
Just perfect. Just USGA has been blessed.
And a beautiful spot. Look at that.
There we go. I don't lie.
It's a snapshot right there.
Yeah, they've planted all those native wildflowers too, which is quite gorgeous.
Well, Johnny, the last big, huge miscue by Webb at the par 3 7th, the par 3 that had some water on it. Here at 16, there have been some balls in the water.
Yeah, 5 of them, and of course Kim's ball is, you know, really, really costly. I mean, that's a shame because she's played so courageously. 3 under par for the day. Got within a couple shots of the lead, and then now 4 back, but taking a lot of time here, Roger.
Well, between Kari and her caddy, I've counted 8 times they've reached down to grab a little grass and throw it up in the air. So really concerning themselves with the wind and the direction it is taking against the players, some mostly from the left.
Well, if I had this lead and I had the wisdom that I do now, I would be under clubbing and to the right, because you don't want to go long. Hole high is really dangerous. It's so fast from that bunker or that rough, as we saw earlier. You can hardly get inside 15 feet. So with her adventures at number 7 today, Raj, you might want to go right.
Roger, do you know if Kari Webb has any idea what Mi Hyun Kim made on this hole and that her lead is now 4?
She does not have any idea. She walked over to the tee and never even concerned herself with looking at the green at the time she got here, so there's no way she can know. There's no scoreboard around she can see. Well, she selected a 5-iron here.
Yes, the last time she hit that on a par 3, she went in the water. Left.
This one's hit solid. This isn't going in the water. This is right of the hole. May need to get down a little. It's good.
Look at how softly she makes the ball land. There's really just no comparison.
And ahead to 17.
Lengthy birdie putt for Laura Davies. Up and over a ridge. Right about in there. And now it will swing back hard to the right. Did she make one? Did she finally make one? Oh, jeez. What a week it has been on the greens for her. Perplexing. Back to 16.
And Meg Mallon.
That's now a 4-iron for Meg. This ball a little bit right of the hole.
See the difference in roll between hers and Kari's?
Kari Webb, in the first 15 major championships she played, couldn't come up with a win. Now she's on the verge of winning her 3rd major championship in her last 4 major starts. Sound familiar? And here she is at the Merit Club. Only 2 top 10s in this championship since that victory 13 years ago. Currently tied for 8th, though, at +3. Kari Webb at 5 under par, +2 on her round today. Has the lead by 4, looking for her first Open Championship. Well, you can see that number 1 on her golf ball, and Kari Webb can be a pretty superstitious player. She often plays the first round of each tournament with balls numbered 4 and then uses the descending number each day until she's using the number 1s in the final round. And by the way of her play, that is usually where she ends up on the leaderboard as well.
Yeah, we've been watching this putt, Roger. It breaks more to the left than it looks like.
Yeah, this is a big sweeper left. There's a mound in the green that certainly influences this putt a great deal. Here in the middle right portion of the green, and once it starts turning left off of that, it's going to turn left hard.
After finishing 49th in the putting stats a couple of years ago, switched to cross-handed putting after getting a tip, and has just added to her arsenal. There it is, the left-hand low.
See if she can get it there, keep it high enough. Good speed, great speed.
That's a nice effort there.
She's very pleased with that.
17.
Second shot for Mi Yoon Kim from 131 yards.
Good drive, huh?
Yeah, perfect tee shot, Johnny. This front right hole location looks inviting, but it has been tough to get close to.
Oh, boy.
It comes up short, finds the primary cut of rough. Back to 16.
4 par, Kari Webb, just 2 holes left. Well, you can bet her parents watching from back in Australia, where there is a 16-hour time difference. Parents Rob and Evelyn Webb had to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to watch the proceedings, and I thought it was interesting. Kari Webb said this is just about the first time that this championship has been televised back in Australia.
Well, she picked the right year.
And there's the Aussie flag as Kari Webb tries to become just the second Aussie to win this championship. Jan Stevenson paved the way back in 1983 and trying to join this list of foreign-born champions. Trying to become the 5th foreign-born champion in the last 6 Opens. So trend earlier, which featured mostly Americans winning this championship, has been changed.
Oh, that was a good-looking putt there. Just carried a little bit too much speed. It's a fast putt, but it was stroked perfectly. Just might have misread it a titch. And you hate to keep leaving yourself when you're nervous, Raj. 3-4 foot putts. I mean, it just...
She is...
And up at the 17th, Kim getting ready for her 3rd shot. Jane?
Well, Gary, this ball's really snuggled down in this primary cut. Tough shot. Green sloping away from her.
That's a great shot.
That was.
She played that beautifully.
Back to 16.
Mallon for her par. Trying to avoid her 5th bogey on the back 9. Solid stroke. Let's go to Jimmy Roberts.
Well, Dan, thanks very much. And one of the players in recent history who has been perhaps one of the most ballyhooed amateurs, young golfers in the country, Christy Kerr, who a few years ago decided to forego college after a bunch of scholarship offers, come out and play some pro golf, but it wasn't as easy perhaps as you thought right away. Talk a little bit about the learning process of coming out on the pro tour and what changes from playing golf from being an amateur to a pro.
Well, you kind of feel like the caliber of play is better on the LPGA Tour than amateur golf, but you're young and you're stupid and you really have no clue that it's going to be that much different. So it was a big shock to my system when I came out and didn't start performing right away. But it took a lot of hard work and a lot of just a couple years of learning how to play out here to where I could feel like I could get comfortable and perform under pressure. And I've done that the last year or so, and it's just maturity. That's all I could say. Like I said, when you're young and stupid, you have really no clue how good these girls out here are, and you think you can compete with them, and you just quite can't.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights on the day. This is a birdie putt on the 12th to go 1 under par on the easiest hole on the course, and you just creep it in there. How difficult is judging these greens?
Oh, I'll tell you what. There are some putts that you don't think are going to be fast, and then you're left with a 4 or 5 footer coming back for par, and then there are just some putts that don't look like they break that much, and then you see them creeping away from the hole.
From tape, excuse me a second, from tape to live, that's our leader shot on the 17th hole.
Well, Kari's been playing great for, I would say, nearly 2 years, and she just has a knack of not making too many shots to where the momentum will go against her. So I think that's what the big thing that she's got going for her now is she's got so much confidence that, you know, it's just like the Tiger scenario. I mean, you've got how many people in the field and how many that actually have a legitimate shot to beat her on any given week. And again, she finds herself on top of the leaderboard week after week.
Well, it's been certainly a great day for Kari Webb and a great day for you two. You started in 7th place. You finish, at least at this point, in a tie for 2nd. Congratulations to you. Let's go out to the 17th hole now.
And there's Meg Mallon's tee shot on the way. 388-yard par 4, dog leg to the right. That ball safely in the fairway. And we move ahead to the green. The par putt now for Mi-Yoon Kim. And that's well done. That's a nice up and down to keep her at 1 under par. So Kari Webb with a 4-shot lead is safely in the fairway at the 17th. Come back, we'll see how many she wins by.
Mi-Yoon Kim, 1 under par, 4 back, getting ready at the par 5 18th, where eagle is a possibility, but it's a critical tee shot.
Well, the Peanut needs to mash it here, I'll tell you that. Get it over that water and into the fairway. That was a big swing, or John Daly imitation. And
it's headed right, Johnny.
Well, get in the bunker. It's better in the bunker. That's sitting up a little bit, though, Jane. It's not buried. It took one hop and sort of raised itself up.
And again, you can still make birdie at 18, even though you missed the fairway. Back to 17.
Kari Webb has a little tree trouble, Roger?
She does. Has 139 yards left to the hole, but still has a little stress to contend with. A tree some 70 yards ahead of her, hanging over the green, really covering about the center to right portion of the green. She'll have to contend with, either play up and over or left and try to cut it around, but it is a factor.
Just stand up yet, please.
Similar situation to what she was in yesterday, and she tried to play to the front left portion of the green, missed the putting surface, and wound up making a bogey 5.
That one limb, Gary, that hasn't been pruned is sure a good one, isn't it?
Perfect. Just the right height.
Over it.
She's played right up over the top of it. If it gets up, it's good. What a shot. Very nicely played.
Right to the very front edge of the green. And perfect position. Meg Mallon next to play.
It carried right about 11. It carried about 33.
31 yards to the hole, 124 yards to the front edge.
Where's that flat coming at? Got to be a little hurt. At least a 40 shot. All right.
Meg and her caddy John Colleen have decided it'll play like a 140-yard shot. And we see the back 9, bogeys at 10, 12, 13, and 14. How's that look, Roger?
That's a little left of the hole at the center of the green.
Putting surface, but leaves a big breaking putt to the right. Kari Webb handling every situation that has been thrown at her.
So, will it be Kari Webb defending at next year's Open Championship? Back to Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Ticket information, call that number on your screen. Beautiful golf course, Donald Ross design, and the famed sand hills of North Carolina. Now look at the future sites after the North Carolina site. Prairie Dunes Country Club in Hutchinson, Kansas.
What a course that is.
Beautiful spot. And then off to Lake Merced Golf Club.
Going home.
Let's take another look at Kari Webb's second. Took it right up and over that limb we were talking about. Gutsy shot. See her 99 2000 year. PGA starts 37. LPGA starts 37. Top 10's 33. Wins 10, seconds 9. That's quite a little run for a year and a half or so. Actually, at one point, had 16 consecutive top 10 finishes, which is a record on the LPGA Tour.
And Gary, maybe she hasn't quite matched the history or done it in the same flair, fashion that Tiger Woods has done it, but those numbers that you just described pretty much equal just about the same dominance in on her respective tour.
Up to 18.
And this is the second shot for Mi Yoon Kim from the rough to this par 5.
And not the worst lie I've ever seen, but not too bad. Going with her 9-wood. Just going to lay it up here short of the fairway bunkers.
Same shot she hit at 15 is what she needs here, huh?
Beautifully played, right down the center, Johnny.
Boy, she can wield those fairway medals, can't she?
Boy, the women with those 7-woods and 9-woods are like radar.
Looks like she's going to wrap it around her body twice after she hits it with that 5-foot frame. Back to 17.
Meg Mallon with a birdie putt. Chance to move to 2 under and into second place alone. Quite a bit to the right as it approaches the hole. Up to 18.
Laura Davies finishing up, trying to do it with the birdie.
Easy to overread this.
Kind of the story of her week. Another missed birdie opportunity. She was sharp all week with the irons, dancing it around the holes all week, Johnny, but just wasn't able to make enough putts.
+3.
75 for Laura Davies, 4th in greens in regulation in this championship. Now Dorothy Dellison for par, amateur champion, who was contending after that 68 on Friday. But plenty golf ahead for this impressive young 19-year-old from Daly City. And there's her dad, Sonny. It's been a dream of theirs to play the LPGA Tour.
And she'll look forward to a couple of years when it goes to Daly City at Lake Merced, a great course there in San Francisco.
17.
Birdie putt for Webb. Good look at her left-hand low grip. This putt really swings hard to the left. Very difficult to pick up that much break. But a very commercial par at 17. Webb's lead remains at 4. 18.
And third shot for Mi Yoon Kim.
And Dan, she has exactly 100 yards to this back left hole location. Wind is into the player's face, probably about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Slightly uphill. I'd say just a comfortable, full pitching wedge for Mi Yoon Kim.
Bit of a tournament in a tournament. You got Mallon, Kerr, and Kim all at -1 bragging rights and also check cashing rights.
Well, and there's a lot of cash to be won, Johnny.
Going left?
It's going left.
She quit on it big time, and I'll tell you, that was really a poor shot there.
That jumps
up in the grandstand
into the
now.
Stands.
And that is dead right there. I mean, she gets to get a drop, but even after the drop, it's going to be dead.
Same reaction she made after firing it into the water at 16. By the way, Mallon made her par at 17 to remain 1 under and 4 back of Kari Webb. Now the third shot for Rosie Jones.
Okay. Slightly closer to the hole than her playing competitor, 92 yards. Just going to kind of wait for everything to settle down back there in the grandstand.
It appears that it's going to continue this major championship futility for Rosie Jones. This is going to be, in all likelihood, the 20th top 10 finish she has had at a major championship. Never a winner, the best way back in 1984 when she finished second at the Open. Also had a second place finish at the 90 LPGA Championship.
And I think also Probably smooth pitching wedge, maybe just gripped a little bit. Yeah, looks like she's gripping down on the club.
Nice little punch swing.
You talk about a competitor there. Rosie Jones is grinding till the last ball drops in the cup and trying to get back to even par and get out of that +1 tie with Grace Park and Kelly Keeney. Meantime, back on the tee. Kari Webb at 5 under par.
Now what's going on there?
Well, there's going to be a delay here. There is a medical cart with a red flashing light on it on the cart path left of the lake, and they are honking their horn and trying to get through the crowd. So I'm sure Kari is going to wait until that commotion passes.
Yeah, hopefully that person inside is all right.
Just this 18th to negotiate for Kari Webb.
Keep quiet, yeah, please.
I thought it was quite interesting how, you know, there's such a routine to players. Not only did she back away from that, she pulled the ball out of the ground, the tee. Then once it was clear, put it back in the ground, went through the same routine. Very smart. It's a dangerous tee shot, though, if you're nervous. Easy to go right, Roger.
Well, she's taken it on a very far left line and hammered this ball, Johnny.
That's awesome. That's the best drive I've seen all day. That's going to just make this 5-par into a 4-par. That is really gutsy. Look at that.
Finally, some of that icy demeanor, which is hidden behind those glasses, kind of exposed there.
I mean, that was a chance, worst case scenario, of going in the water, and who knows what might happen with Mallon making eagle, and she goes in the water for a double, and we got playoff. Now Mallon has got to decide, do I have enough game to try that? Because really, if you hit in line with the bunker, which is right where her cap is, and you can see that bunker there, it will jump through the fairway if you hit it solidly. The fairway is very hard, so you need to go left of the bunker if you're going to let it go.
Meg can't carry it as far left as Kari Webb did here. This one's going at the fairway bunker on the right-hand side, but
let's see if that'll
should
stop.
be okay.
Yep. Good shot.
Kari Webb, you saw the smile. She knows and we know she's on her way to a U.S. Women's Open title. Merritt Club opened just 8 years ago and hosting its first USGA championship. Glad to be a part of it here on NBC Sports as Kari Webb safely in the fairway at the par 5 18th, on her way to her 3rd major championship. Meanwhile, well up ahead, Lee-Hyun Kim taking a drop, and from the grandstands, David Fay.
Well, it's a temporary immovable obstruction, and as such, the relief can be, and it will be, a bit more generous than just a regular immovable obstruction. As you can see here, it's erected for the championship, and she does have intervention because she actually, her ball was in the grandstand. And on 18, we did have ball drops, but she's elected to proceed under the rule. And in proceeding under the rule, the first step is she has to measure 1 club length from the edge of the TIL along the equidistant arc. And then once she gets that 1 club length, she drops outside of 1 club length, but within 2. Under a regular immovable obstruction, you get your nearest point of relief, and you'd have to drop within 1 club length. And of course, there's no penalty.
And David, she doesn't have a whole lot of green here to work with now. She's short-sighted herself pretty badly here. And I think if she gets this past the hole, it'll be a pretty good shot. Probably, I would say she'd be happy with anything within 6 to 10 feet.
And hopefully she'll see this tape and see the difference between Rosie Jones's crisp, nice, controlled punch wedge with spin and her big, lazy backswing, sort of ease into it approach shot.
That's very well played from there.
She's got some great game around the green. And she's hit some clutch shots all day. I mean, I'm not discrediting her. She's hit as many good shots as anyone today, maybe more. And just a few loose shots could cost her. This should have been a birdie opportunity.
Well, I think Johnny, with that long swing of hers, she can tend to decelerate pretty badly.
Yeah, the heel looked like it just flipped right over.
Well, while she was hitting, Meg Mallon laid up her second to this par 5.
That was a wood layup. I'm not sure what kind. It had backspin on it. Maybe it was lofted wood, but a good leave.
So the battle is now on for second place. Meg Mallon currently tied there with Christy Kerr and Mi-Hyun Kim, who has this putt for par. So a lot could change in the richest golf tournament ever in the history of women's golf.
Well, this could be a pretty expensive bogey if she makes a bogey here, especially when you're staring down a pitching wedge. You should be able to get that within 10 feet every day.
Well, I guess a lot to do with nerves.
Webb out in the fairway,
I tell you, it's
waiting.
A great feeling, though, when you're on the last fairway of a championship. You got 4 or 5 shot lead or whatever it is. You're in the middle of the fairway, and you're just thinking, it's like a warm, glowing feeling inside you. It's just a wonderful feeling.
A little different when you need to make par to nail down that championship.
I know, but it's sort of the fruits of your labor. This putt we saw earlier, Jane, by Laura Davies, and it did break.
Yeah, it's definitely got some break. The high side's to her right, so it should go right to left. Putted it this morning, and it does have quite a bit of action on it, right to left.
Just to stay into a tie for second. Unfortunate finish for Mi-Hyun Kim. Of course, that double bogey at the 16th. And then a bogey here at the 18th drops her back to even par out of that tie for second. +3 on the last 3 holes for last year's Rookie of the Year. Mi-Hyun Kim, who tasted contention in a major championship for the first time and had that opportunity on the back 9.
Now Rosie Jones with an opportunity for birdie here. Left to right break, Johnny's got to go, I would say, at least 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, and really a chance to tie Kim, who's been way ahead of her most of the day.
Tied for 4th.
It's a funny game, isn't it? You just never know. It's been said so many times, but this game never ceases to amaze me.
She's had a long time to look at this.
Well, she's saying it's about a ball out. I like a little bit more, but she's a pretty darn good putter.
Rosie Jones parred her first 13 holes before that birdie at 14 got her to 1 under, but 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes have dropped her quickly back to +1.
See that pigeon-toed putting stance, a la Arnold Palmer in his prime.
Oh, great putt.
And that gets Rosie Jones another top 10 finish, tied for 4th. Meanwhile, waiting back in the fairway after a gutsy drive, Kari Webb, chance to get it on in 2 here at 18.
Well, she gave me a little smile, Danny, on the way up to her tee shot and said, I hit it a little bit further left than I was trying to. Only 214 yards left of the hole. The shot turning right to left, going at the hole.
Oh, that's a good bounce. Well, it's only fitting, Raj. It's a heck of a shot there.
On in 2. No eagles on 18 today. There have been 5 for the week. And Kari Webb can walk up the 18th knowing that she's going to win her first Open Championship. The glasses are off, and it's almost fitting we talk about that David Duvall often criticized for his icy demeanor behind them, but as Kari Webb comes up, she flips him up. Just a country girl from Australia, maybe a little shy when she first started winning all these golf tournaments. Didn't quite know how to react to the limelight, but there is a caring soul in Kari Webb, and we'll talk about that in a moment after Meg Mallon.
Roger,
plays.
What's Meg have?
80 yards to the hole.
Perfect spot, huh?
Perfect spot. It's a nice sand area.
Chance to distance herself from Christy Kerr. Gets second by herself. See if it spins. It does.
Big roar for Meg Mallon. Mentioned that Kari Webb's parents watching back in Australia. You can bet her instructor, Kelvin Haller, who Kari Webb has called a big brother and a second father, taught her the game. He's been a quadriplegic for the last 10 years after suffering a stroke. And Kari Webb said that if she ever made it big in this game, if she ever made a lot of money, what she has, that she would be active in raising money for the cure for paralysis. And last week, just last week at Waikago Country Club at the Japan Airlines Big Apple Classic, she had a fundraising golf tournament, which she will have every year with Christopher Reeves. So there's another side of Kari Webb that doesn't always get exposed.
Well, this is a great moment for her. She sees somebody she knows, she can have trouble holding back the tears.
And there's what awaits. The most cherished trophy in women's golf.
She's asking Meg, is it all right if I go? A lot of times you'll let the other person finish out and then you have the stage all to yourself when you're winning a championship, but most likely she's figuring she'll lag it down there and then mark and then let Meg knock hers in, and then she'll be last to putt.
Well, I don't know if she's just going to lag it down there, John. 4-shot lead, this would be a heck of a way to cap it off.
Oh, I know what you're saying. I'm just speculating that she figures that's probably the case. Ah, nice theater there, huh, Dan? Beautiful sight, a lot of people, great gallery stands, and terrific golf course. Got to give a lot of kudos, really, to Oscar Miles and the superintendent, and all his crew.
Fabulous shape, nothing but great comments from the players all week, and now what a way this would be to finish out. An eagle at 18 to just cap off an Open title.
Big sweeper to the left. Throw it out there and let it curl left.
Johnny, you got to figure this is going to really hurt later tonight when Meg has a chance to think about what happened today. She really had a great opportunity and just kind of came unraveled with the putter on the back nine.
Well, we saw it at Colorado Springs, and that hurt, especially that fourth hole when she had it going so well. And then, but if she can make this, she'll feel a lot better about herself, I can tell you that.
This is the second time she's played in the final twosome on Sunday at this championship. Shot that disappointing 74 5 years ago to finish second.
Yeah, to lose to Kari Webb right now is not exactly something to be ashamed of. Okay, slice putt, just outside the hole. A lot of those this week, Roger.
Many missed opportunities.
Just like back 5 years ago, another disappointing 74 for Meg Mallon.
Well, she knocks that in there, she will tie Christy Kerr.
You know, Meg's round, Johnny, +2, Kari Webb's +2, but it just seemed like such a much bigger struggle for Mallon. Even though they've played the same golf today as you look at the score. .39 on the back for Meg Mallon. And now the stage is clear for Webb. For birdie, and Kari Webb has herself an Open Championship. And her third major. And like Tiger Woods, Kari Webb has won 3 of the last 4 major championships.
The best player won.
21st win of the year, 5th of this season. She's also going to be a Hall of Famer officially. We'll hear from Kari Webb when we come back.
We are back at the Merit Club, where Kari Webb is the 2000 U.S. Women's Open champion, a win by 5, but as you said before, it couldn't be enough. Was it difficult today keeping control of your emotions given what was at stake, Kari?
Yeah, it was. I was extremely nervous for the whole day. I think my heart was in my mouth most of the day, and got off to a pretty rough start, and just managed to keep myself together and make a lot of pars and just hang in there.
They say that birdies are very flashy, but it's pars which in the end win championships. 9 and 14 had to be 2 crucial holes for you.
Yeah, they were. I hit 2 good tee shots up there, which is probably the key on both of those holes. And well, I just played those great and got out of there with 2 pars, which I was very happy with.
Kari Webb, not only the 2000 U.S. Women's Open champion, but a ticket to the Hall of Fame as well. Dan, back to you.
Okay, Jimmy, she'll have to wait a little bit for that until the end of 2005 to go in. A reminder to join us Saturday, August 26th, as our coverage of golf's national championships continues with semifinal action from the 100th U.S. Amateur from historic Baltusrol Golf Club in Springfield, New Jersey. And coming up tonight on NBC, the countdown to Sydney continues, 7 o'clock Eastern Time and Pacific, the exciting conclusion of the U.S. Olympic track and field trials as Michael Johnson goes for the 200-meter title. Maybe he's been injured. But for Johnny Miller, Gary Koch, Roger Maltby, Jane Crafter, Kay Cockrell, Jimmy Roberts, and David Fay, this is Dan Hicks saying so long from the 2000 U.S. Women's Open in Gurnee, Illinois. At age 25, Kari Webb has earned Hall of Fame status. Right now, she's the Open champ.